Okay, awesome.
You can begin.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very appreciative of Nicole who agreed to join us this evening and talk to us about the importance of detoxing. I met Nicole on Clubhouse, and every time I hear this woman speak, she just really motivates me to do better with my health. And then come to find out, I think Chris and Tina knows that I am a distributor for Purium products. Come to find out, I joined up under her somewhere. So that was fun to know. That was fun to learn. And I said, yes, I have direct contact with her. So without further ado, I do present to you Nicole, the detox specialist, and she goes by Womb Therapist on Instagram. So Nicole, take it away, take it away.
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love this accountability call. I was like, okay, holding us accountable, right? Get that body moving, get that lymphatic system moving. So I am going to talk to you tonight about the importance of detoxification. But first, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Brantley. I am affectionately known as the womb therapist. And that is because I help women who have fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, those who have trouble conceiving. I help them take the option of hysterectomy and other surgeries off of the table and truly get to the root of their healing. And that's because a surgeon can cut out everything except for cause. And so we might as well address that root issue. A lot of the times it's the emotional trauma and the emotional baggage that has gone unaddressed. And so that is where I come in to help people with complete healing. So I am a cellular regenerative detoxification specialist, like Carmel said. I'm also a womb care practitioner and educator, as well as a therapist. And so I take those unique set of skills and I help heal the whole person. And so the topic that I'm talking about tonight is very near and dear to my heart because detox is truly the only logical way to healing the body. When you fast from food, when you bring in the right chemistry, those are the things that can reverse disease because anything created can be reversed. And so I want to start off by saying, just put on your listening ears and kind of take away all the things that you think you know, right? And just come with an open mind because there are a lot of things that I'm going to say that are very non-traditional, right? And it might stump you or it might like you feel like I'm stepping on your toes because it's totally against your belief, but I just want you to listen, right? With anything that's new, we have to take it in, we have to process it. I always say go read and research for yourself, do your own research and see what you come up with, right? Because there are many things along my journey that stumped me and I was like, what? But I did the work, I read, I researched, and I'm like, okay, that is truth, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. So I'm gonna jump right in. And I wanna start by saying this, allopathic medicine or the medical community focuses on treatment or treating symptoms. And with diseases taking us out left and right, I think it's safe to say that the treatment concept isn't working, right? How many people do we have to see die of cancer? How many people have high blood pressure, diabetes? You know, the things that are common in our community, right? It all goes back to diet, but treating it is never going to address what's really going on at the root, right? So if you notice, when we use treatment to control or temporarily eliminate whatever somebody is experiencing, it comes back with a vengeance. When you think of cancer, when somebody's like, oh, I'm in remission. Oh, well, now my cancer's back and it's spread. The truth is it never really left when you treated it, right? But if we got to the root, what the root of cancer is damaged cells. It is your cells being eaten up. The tissue is being weakened. It's compromised by the chemistry that we're bringing into the body. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Lots of acids, right? Anytime we eat a cooked meal, that leaves behind acid ash. So you cannot treat chronic and degenerative conditions. It just worsens the condition, right? It's like suppressing versus eliminating, okay? And when we suppress a thing and then we stop the treatment on the surface, everything seems to blow up, but that's because it was worsening the entire time. So this is where detoxification comes in. So detoxification is the method used to remove inflammation and toxins from the body that have caused, okay, the tissue to fail in the first place. So that's the purpose of detoxification, is to clean up the spill on aisle 9. Let's clean up the body, clean up these tissues. And then regeneration is rebuilding of tissue that has failed, all right? So detoxification and regeneration of tissue, cells, organs, glands means you completely eliminate the cause of the symptom, right? And this is what I want you guys to understand. If you correct the cause of a problem, the symptoms automatically go away, okay? So you cannot regenerate the body without detoxification. They go hand in hand as the twin pillars of health and vitality, right? You can even straighten the bones, like scoliosis, for example. That curvature in the spine is because acid has weakened that structure. But if we get in there with detoxification and we clean up the body, you can straighten that spine back up. Our bodies are living conscious machines, okay? They can rebuild themselves after surgeries, after wounds, after major cuts, after nerve damage, tissue failure, you name it. But we have to give it right conditions, right? Everything is cause and effect. So why do I see this showing up in my body? Excuse me, in my body. What is the cause? Okay, but we cannot do that, right? And this is where it's going to be unpopular for a lot of people. But we cannot do that on a diet of dead animals and other cooked dead foods. Okay, and I'm going to go more into that in just a minute. So you have to alkalize, detoxify, and energize the body. You literally have to turn on the lights in the body. Those are the 3 main components to regeneration. So alkalization is vital to tissue regeneration, the rebuilding of failed tissue, because it's anti-inflammatory. Okay, detoxifying clears out and cleans up all the obstructions, the irritants and the stimulants like mucus and chemicals and pesticides and herbicides and heavy metals, you name it, from the body. And this allows for proper digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. Those are the processes of digestion, okay? That's how our body processes the food. Digestion can start in the mouth with most things. Then we absorb what we need from that. Our body utilizes from the absorption what it needs, and then it eliminates the rest. But a lot of people are constipated, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So that was detoxify. So energizing, you want to energize your cell with energy from living foods, sun fire foods. And what do I mean by that? The sun fed those foods. So things from the earth. That is key to vital health, okay? And without the power of live foods full of electricity and nutrition, you cannot have alkalization and detoxification. And so many of us violate nature every single day. We start out with a cooked meal. We're eating oatmeal. We're starting with coffee and creamer, bagels and cream cheese, shrimp and grits, bacon, egg, and cheese. The body is not ready for that when it's upon waking. Okay, it's ready for some key lime or some lemon water to help it in its highest time of detoxification, or some regular plain spring water. But we cannot dump those things into our body and expect it to perform optimally. The liver doesn't want to clock in before noon. And we're clocking it in with all kinds of fats, right? Even if we're eating, quote, healthy, we shouldn't be putting avocado in our morning smoothie. We shouldn't be putting anything creamy or that has lots of fats, even if it's a good fat, in our morning smoothie. Our liver will have to clock in to help break that down. All right, so alkalization neutralizes acidosis. Detoxification not only alkalizes the body, but it also gives the body the added energy that it needs to clean itself out. All right, and this is why detoxification and regeneration are so important. Okay, it's the only logical way to heal the body. So next, I want to talk about some signs that you need to detox, that your body is in need of detox, right? So a lot of things that we'll see, first and foremost, a lot of people are in pain. And what I want to say is this: pain is a request for change. Okay, pain is a request for change. So when you're dealing with pain, what's happening there is that acid is chewing up tissue in that spot. So if you have hip pain or knee pain or joint pain or, a headache, that's where acid is present, because pain is acid. Weight is also acid, and I'll get into that in a minute. So a sign that you need to detox is that you're in pain. in some way, shape, or form, whether that's having headaches or different parts of your body are aching, your stomach, whatever it is. Allergies, okay? Allergies and food sensitivities are a dead giveaway that your lymphatic system, which is your sewer system that takes out the trash, is not moving. The trash is not going out. It's just building and building and building. So we're dealing with an accumulation of waste. And what the body doesn't eliminate, it accumulates. And this is how disease begins to create itself within the body. Okay. So whenever you have food sensitivities, like, oh, I'm allergic to apples. Oh, I'm allergic. You should not be allergic to anything that comes from the earth. If you are allergic, if you have food sensitivities or allergies, if you eat lemons and you break out, or, something happens, it is because your lymphatic system is not moving out your waste, and that acid is now leaving through your skin. So you're having an outbreak, you're having an eczema flare, you're having a rash or hives, something of that nature. So this is a sign that you need to detox the body. You got to start getting rid of that waste, right? Cleaning up the spill. Think about it as a swamp. You have to begin to drain the swamp or clean up the fish tank. And the medical community will give you a pill to do that. So think about a fish tank and think about throwing a tablet in there to clean it up. Did you really clean it up? Or when you begin to take out all of the pieces and parts and rinse them under the water and, really clean up what was in the tank, wash the walls down, and then put fresh water back in, right? And then put the fish back in. That's really cleaning the tank. That's what we do when we detoxify the body and we take in living foods, fruits, juicy, watery melons, things of that nature. That's how we clean up and get rid of waste. Constipation is another sign that you need to detoxify. So many people are constipated and don't know it, because a lot of the times when they think constipation, they think I'm straining and I'm sitting on the toilet for 30 minutes before I can poop. That's one form of constipation, is when you're so dehydrated that your bowels can't even move and you're pushing and pushing and pushing to try to get them out. That's a sign of high levels of severe internal dehydration. But constipation is simply you poop once a day, or once every other day, or for some people, once a week. So you are super backed up. Every time you eat a meal, it should leave your body. So if you eat 3 square meals a day, by the end of the week, you've only pooped once. Where are those other 18 meals at or so, right? So you have to get rid of it. That is what constipation is. And a lot of the times the bowels are not moving because the body is internally dehydrated, and we're eating a lot of constipating foods like dairy, like cheese, like milk, like eggs, things that will sit there and not move. Think about anything that you eat that's on your plate. How does it look on the plate? Is it easy to rinse off when it's time to wash it? Then it's not going to go down easy. But think about a smoothie. When you make a smoothie and you use all fruit and coconut water and everything's clean, when you go to rinse the blender, it rinses very easily. You don't have to sit there and scrub and dig and scrape and, use all of the tools that you might have at your sink. The same thing happens in the body. So think about that smoothie versus a big square of macaroni and cheese that's on the plate. That's going to be harder to wash out or break down when it's going down for digestion. Okay, that's just an example. Another example or another sign that you need to detoxify is skin conditions. So if you're dealing with eczema, psoriasis, hives, rashes, rosacea, you name it, acne, dandruff, right? Dandruff is acid leaving through your scalp. So your scalp is an extension of your skin, and dandruff is the acid leaving through your skin, because what happens is we have 2 kidneys, right? Sit at our lower back. When those are not filtering, your skin, your largest living eliminative organ, will take up the brunt of things, and it's known as our third kidney in my industry. And so it will push out the waste and the toxins that your other kidneys are not filtering out. And so this is why people deal with acne. This is why it hurts, or they have cystic acne and it's so sore to the touch, because that acid is burning and chewing on their skin and on their tissue. Rosacea, deeply rooted injured gut. That's why the cheeks are red, hurts to the touch for some people. So skin conditions are a dead giveaway that you need to detoxify your body. You got to clean up the trash. And I'll tell you this, if you suffer with acne, if you suffered with it as a kid, or you have adult acne now, if you simply take out the dairy miraculously, your skin will begin to glow. And that's because dairy is very constipating. It's very congesting. It leaves obstructions. It doesn't make for ease and flow. That is what disease is. It's the lack of flow and ease in the body. So when we compromise the body and we take its ability to be able to flow and have ease, we can look forward to disease if we're eating things that are going to bring the opposite. Okay. Another sign that you need a detox is digestive issues. So your acid reflux, your indigestion, your bloating, your gas, your diverticulitis, your colitis. And itis just means inflammation of whatever it is that precedes that word. So colitis, inflammation of the colon, right? The bloating, probably coming from improper food combining, because we do that a lot with American cuisine. We pair things that should not be paired. Proteins and starches do not go together. Rice and beans, chicken fried with the flour on it, hamburgers and buns, hot dogs and buns, you name it. Those things are not properly paired. And so we compromise our gut every time we bring in that kind of food. I'm not gonna even get into the glyphosate, which is the herbicide found in Roundup, which we spray on our front yard if we want to kill weeds, but it's also in so many of our foods. Wheat is heavily sprayed. So your oatmeal cream pies, your Doritos, your Cheetos, your Oreos, you name it, parts per billion, damaging and destroying the tight junctions in your gut, causing you to have leaky gut and other digestive issues. All right. I know people with esophagus issues. I know people who their food gets in their stomach and it just sits there. It doesn't even move. They need digestive enzymes to assist them. Why? Because the acid has broken down the processes and weakened the tissue so much that it doesn't perform its function. It gets deep, you guys. It gets really deep. All right. And lastly, I'm going to talk about chronic fatigue. A lot of people are chronically fatigued. I'm raising my hand. I was there. I was chronically fatigued. I ate very high raw, maybe one cooked meal a day. It was usually veggies. I was vegan. It was void of eggs, meat, seafood, cheese, soy, all of the things. And I still was tired. And the reason is soil health matters. It was how my food that I was eating, how it was being grown, right? And America does not have great farming practices. If you've never seen the documentary Kiss the Ground, make sure that you watch it. It is on Netflix. Write that down. Kiss the Ground on Netflix. And I can share a ton of books and a ton of documentaries, but that's one I would want you to start with so you can understand soil health and how it's important to our human health and the health of Mother Earth. Super important. So you heard Carmel mention that we are with Purium. When I brought Purium Superfood Nutrition into my life, the clouds parted on the third day. I thought I was tired. That was brain fog, like clearly like parted. I was like, oh my gosh, like how was I dealing with that? Because I remember always being tired, wanting to get into the bed by 4 p.m., 6 p.m., pushing things to the next day because I was exhausted, beating myself up because I'm like, you're procrastinating. No, my gut was injured. And as it began to repair, my energy came back, right? All of the things, my skin began to glow even more. Weight was falling off because it was waste. I was getting rid of waste that I didn't even know was accumulated. When you have really, really large, big elephant thighs or just thighs bigger than normal, that is accumulated waste because your kidneys are not filtering. That's where the big arms come in, the big bellies, the big butts, accumulated waste. So when you begin to put the right chemistry in, it falls off. If you're working out, because I know this is a fitness group, if you feel like you're working your life away and you're like, girl, I ain't losing no weight. What is going on? I've been plateaued at this level. Your kidneys are not filtering. And weight is acid. When you open the kidneys and the acid can flow out, you lose the weight. On average in my programs, people lose 16 to 30 pounds in 1 month. Why? Because half of it left from the colon. They were full of poop. Okay. And then the rest of the weight can begin to fall off because we now have the lymphatic system moving. The kidneys are working properly. The adrenals are pumping and helping the kidneys to filter. The skin is doing its thing. Everything begins to come into alignment, right? And I'm going to talk about channels of elimination in just a second. But pain, allergies, constipation, skin conditions, digestive issues, chronic fatigue, and all of the other things, the high blood pressure, the diabetes, the heart issues, cancer, the things that I didn't name, ladies, the fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, you can't have any babies, you're having multiple miscarriages, stillborn, All of that is because the body is super toxic. It's filled with lots of toxicity and acidity. And this is why we need to detox, to remove those obstructions and to get the body to perform optimally. All right. One of my colleagues always says this, and I wanted you guys to hear this. Listen to your body's whispers so you don't have to hear it scream, right? It's screaming at high blood pressure. It's screaming at diabetes. It's screaming at joint pain. It's really screaming at cancer, because that's a building up. It takes a long time to get there. But what I will tell you is that mamas, we pass our lymphatic system on to our children. And so our babies are coming here weaker and weaker and weaker because we are compromised and we're not strengthening our tissues. We're still eating soul food. We're eating like mama and them ate. We're eating all this dairy, all this meat, all these grains and starches and eggs. Eggs feed viruses. If you have HPV, HIV, herpes, or the like, COVID, you do not need to be consuming eggs. You're going to keep the viral load present in your body, even if it's lying dormant. All viruses can be detoxed out of the body. Every single one of them that I just named. I've helped people reverse HIV, HPV, herpes, and have zero sign of it in their body when they go get their blood tested. Why? Because you have to detox it out. That's the only way that a virus can leave the body. And viral loads love weak tissue. So when you eat the foods that compromise the tissue integrity and make it very weak and leave all this acid ash, you sign up and you make yourself more susceptible to viral loads in all of its forms. That's why it was easier for some people to get COVID and others not, right? The true building of your immunity is making sure your lymphatic system is moving. So waste in, waste out, right? When that is compromised, you can be sure to catch, which I'm going to tell you in a minute. You don't catch disease. Disease is not caught. It is created. Okay. It's an accumulation of waste. All right. And I want to say next, you cannot outwork a poor diet. That's why some people work so hard, they're sweating profusely. And then some people don't even need to do anything to sweat profusely. When you just walk up a flight of steps, or you just take a few steps and you're sweating profusely, underarms are drenched, your back is sweaty, your kidneys are screaming for help, screaming for help. And the way that you clean those up and open them up to get them to do what they need to do is detoxification. A diet high in raw foods, lots of fruit. That's not popular a lot of the times amongst the fitness community. A lot of people are on keto diets, and I'll talk about that in a minute. We're human beings. Our species are not carnivores. We have fingernails, not claws. We do not have the speed of a lion. We cannot chase a rabbit down, kill it, claw it, and eat it. We're definitely not going to eat it raw. We got to fry it, bake it, do all of the things, season it to death in order for it to be palatable. We also don't have a short intestine like carnivores. We have 24 plus feet of intestines. They only have 5, right? So the meat comes in, the meat goes out. They eat it bloody, they don't cook it, right? That's how you know we're not a carnivore. And so what happens to us is the meat gets stuck along the way. And this is why colon cancer, and this is why diverticulitis and pockets of trash stuck along the walls, because it never made its way down. So if you're going to continue to partake in meat, because I'm not here to judge you or tell you how to live your lifestyle, make sure that you also partake in colon hydrotherapy. Make sure you are also doing at-home enemas. Make sure you're also drinking key lime and lemon water and doing things to help your colon stay cleansed and move those bowels constantly, right? So if you are constipated, you got to speed up bowel elimination time. That should be a goal of yours, right? And the beauty of working out is that you sweat. That's another way to get out toxins, but it's not the only way. We need more than that, right? And you don't have to be a gym rat. Walking is very low impact, but very effective. Gets that lymph moving. It does what it needs to do. So if you can't be in there lifting and doing all these things, you got an injury, whatever the case may be, it's not necessary. Walking is enough, right? And start out where you can, and then bump your way up to an hour or more. But that's how you move the lymphatic system, right? And another thing with working out, we produce a lot of lactic acid when we're working out and we're doing like really hard workouts and we're really extreme and strenuous. And that is not good for people who have compromised kidneys. If your kidneys are in failure or your kidneys are not performing as they should, you have a hard time with recovery. I know that you do. You're sore, you're in pain, and that's because lactic acid, acid equals pain, is being produced and it doesn't have anywhere to go, right? And that's why walking is super impactful and super effective. You're not going to produce as much, and you're not going to have a hard time recovering from a walk like you would a strenuous workout. And so if you go to my Instagram, I did a recent live with someone on bodybuilding, and I got into the whole protein myth and understanding that our body doesn't require protein. We can't even use it. Okay, we are carbon constituents, yet a lot of us are running from carbons. I don't eat carbohydrates. You shouldn't eat refined carbohydrates, but the carbohydrates in your fruit, you need that to fuel your brain and your body. Because if not, you have brain fog. If not, you're exhausted, right? Listen to your body because it's always speaking to you. All right. So exercise is great, but it's not enough. You do sweat out toxins, but you produce a lot of lactic acid. And we want to make sure our kidneys are filtering properly in order to do that. So quickly, let me tell you how we check kidney filtration. Your high blood pressure read is your adrenal gland function over your kidney function. Top number should be 120 to 130. That's the range. If it's lower than that or higher than that, your adrenals are failing. If they're going down, if the number is lower, 118 or lower, they're starting to go down. If that number is higher, way past 130, next to the 200s or in the 200s, they have failed. And the levels of acid in your body has that number that's super high. Okay, so the adrenal glands we need our adrenal glands. They are responsible for so many things, right? Including helping our kidneys. They're the pump to help the kidneys filter. The bottom number should be 60 to 70. If that number is lower than 50, your kidneys are failing. You have kidney failure. You are in renal failure. And if that number is higher than 70, your kidneys have already gone down, hypo, and now they're hyper, which means the levels of acid have built. And that's why that number is sky high, 50 something and above, hundreds, 200s, that's stroke level. Okay, so that is how you can tell where your kidney filtration is. Best to do it in the morning on an empty stomach, just after rising, before you drinking anything, before you got up to pee and use the bathroom. That is a true read of what things are doing. Because once you start to eat, things start to fluctuate and can change, and you don't necessarily get a true read. And always take your blood pressure on the left and on the right, because you can get different reads. Our kidneys function separately, right? So the left side of the body is doing one thing, the right side of it's bilateral. It doesn't do the same thing. So always get your blood pressure taken in both arms, because you could be weaker on one side than you are on the other. I helped my son heal from severe eczema. Left side, tons of weakness. That's where all of his outbreak was. No outbreaks on the right, right? So it just helps us understand what's going on in our body. We're going to heal it the same. We don't do something special so that the left side comes back and the right side doesn't. Healing is healing. When you begin to heal the body, everything starts to come into alignment. Everything starts to come into balance, okay? So the body can only function as well as you fuel it. Your food determines your mood, okay? So living foods give you energy, help you to be happy, energized, right? Serotonin is produced in the gut. If your gut is injured, you're depressed, you have mental health issues like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, autism, ADHD, you name it. That is an injured gut. When you correct the gut, you correct the mental health issue, you correct the depression. 90% of serotonin is created there. So that's our happy hormone. If it's not producing correctly, how can you be happy? You can't. That's why a lot of people are depressed, because their gut is injured from the foods that they're eating. All right. Dead foods, you cannot get life from death. Meat cannot give you a dog on angstrom. Angstrom is how we measure energy. It doesn't give you anything, okay? So that's why you're tired, that's why you're moody, that's why you may be anxious, because if you eat a piece of meat, and let's say that cow experienced anxiety, or his adrenaline was high before it was killed, and now you ate that, you also ate all of that. Adrenaline, everything that came with that cow, or that chicken, or whatever it is that you choose to eat. And so that's why your food determines your mood, right? And think about Thanksgiving. You eat all these foods, you got to go lay down. Your body requires all of that energy for digestion. So think about if something's going on in your body and it needs to heal, and you're eating 3 square meals a day, all cooked food, nothing living, no juicing, no smoothies, barely any water, right? And water, by the way, does not hydrate the human body. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it's working. It never can take a break to go heal. That's why you need to detox. So you can give your organs and your glands a rest, and that energy normally used for digestion can now be used to heal your human body, can now begin to heal those things that need to be healed within your body. You cannot get life from death. I know it's not popular, right? We have been conditioned to think that we got to eat this certain way and eat these certain foods. And, the food pyramid was the biggest scheme that they ever came up with. It's a lie. It is a lie. Okay. Watch Food Matters. That is another one of my top tier documentaries to watch. Your mind will be blown. Food Matters. They dive deep. Okay. When you're always hungry, you're malnourished. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I ate, and then an hour later, I'm hungry again, you're not eating enough. Okay. If it's fruit, that's fine, because fruit doesn't have fat. And so, but if it's like sugary things and you're eating a lot of things that have carbs, you're going to constantly be hungry and constantly be searching and in the pantry and in the fridge because you're malnourished. You're not taking in enough nutrients. Okay. And I want to say this, the more you eat things that bleed, the more you bleed. My ladies with fibroids and PCOS and endometriosis and heavy periods and irregular cycles and, the gushing blood, and I got to wear a tampon and a pad. And the more you eat things that bleed, the more you bleed. Okay. And that's too much to get into and unpack, but you got to be mindful of the chemistry that you're bringing into your body. Everything is cause and effect. So quickly, I want to tell you what our 5 channels of elimination are. They are your kidneys, they are your bowels, they are your lungs, which expel mucus, and breathing is a way for us to get toxins out of our body. Your skin, your 3rd kidney, right? Largest eliminative organ that will begin to purge toxicity, especially when the other 2 are not doing what they should. And your lymphatic system, which is your sewer system that takes out the trash. Those are our 5 channels of elimination. That is how our body gets rid of waste. Okay. So we don't want to maintain disease. We don't want to treat anything on the surface. We want to eliminate it by regenerating the body, by giving the body exactly what it needs to heal. Okay. And just because you're losing weight does not mean that you are improving your health. I know that's not popular. I know it. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell the truth. Okay. I'm going to say it again. Just because you are losing weight doesn't mean you're improving your health. And I want to say that because a lot of people look to ketosis. Ketosis literally means cellular starvation. Why would you want to starve your cells? You want to nourish your cells. When you give your body proper nutrition, you will lose the weight that you should. You don't have to eat this certain thing and take this certain thing away. You're starving your cells. Okay. And you're staying away from things that the body needs. We need carbs. We are carbon constituents, not protein constituents. Okay. So consuming lots of fats and oils, that's why people have fatty liver. That's why.
A quick question. I'm sorry. You said ketosis is not a good thing, but isn't detoxing putting yourself in a ketosis state?
Not the same. You're putting your body in ketosis with fats and oils. It's not the same.
No. I'm talking about not eat. Okay, I get you. Thanks.
Yes, there's a difference. Fasting is just fasting, right? So that's a way to that's a healthy way to put your body in ketosis. But when you're doing with meat and starving your body of carbs, that's not a healthy way to do it. That's cellular starvation. Okay. So, and it has a lot of blowback. It comes back with a lot of disease. Okay. And this is because I've seen it over and over and over again that I can speak to that. But fats and oils destroy the liver. Fats and oils, proteins and things of that nature worsen conditions. It doesn't help you to heal. It's clogging. Think about oil and how thick it is and how globby it is. It's clogging. And that's what it does. Okay. So we are carbon constituents. We need amino acids, not proteins. Our body can't even use protein. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So too much protein, which is acids, that is what causes premature aging. It causes you to look old faster. It causes your skin to wrinkle and not glow. It begins to break down the body from the inside out. So this is why we have to pull back on the acids. It really saddens me that when I'm out and about and I look around, we are sick. We are eating ourselves to death. Okay? We are obese, we are overweight, we don't move our bodies nearly enough, right? But we're eating all of the wrong things, which are breaking down our organs and glands, causing us to have disease, because disease is created, not caught. And we don't even know what's going on because we're not tapped in. And when we eat things like meat and dairy and starches and grains are super sticky and gluey during digestion. If you are constipated, you should not be eating rice, no grains, because it's making it gluey and sticky. It's making you use half of that roll of toilet paper at one sitting, right? We need to be eating fruit. There's a whole fruit fear thingy out there, right? Don't eat all of that sugar. Your body needs that sugar. Contrary to popular belief, we need fructose, okay? We need some of the glucose from our veggies. The water in fruit is far superior than any bottled water you can drink. It's called H3O2. Go look it up. It's what hydrates your cells. It's what regenerates the tissue. It's what satiates you and rehydrates the body. Far superior than any water you can drink. I'm not a proponent of drinking a gallon of water in a day. You can drink too much water. When you're acidic and when you're on a high protein diet, you're super acidic. So your body just buffers the water and you just pee it out. That's why you're in the bathroom every 30 minutes to an hour. It's not permeating a cell. It's not really flushing anything. You're peeing it out, right? But try that with grapes. Try that with fruit. You will pee less because your body is utilizing the water to help rehydrate things. But then when you're rehydrated, you'll notice yourself peeing more when you bring in high water content fruit like watermelons, because your body doesn't need all of that excess. But that's what flushes. That's what helps loosen up poop in the colon. Okay? So stay away from dairy, meats, eggs. Eggs feed viruses, grains, and eggs are nothing but pure fat. And lots of starches. They break down the kidneys over time. And I'm going to say this quickly about protein, and then I'm going to open it up. I'm not sure if you guys are going to have time for questions. If you do, I'm here for that. If not, I totally understand. But I want to say the body does not need protein. It requires amino acids, which are the building blocks it uses to make protein. Your body does that. We don't need to bring it from an outside source. Meat is complex amino acids, right? Which computes as inflammation. Fruits are simple amino acids that the body recognizes, knows how to break down, and your body computes it as information. It knows exactly what to do with it. Complex amino acids are hard to break down. They're not really the food for our species. Fruit digests within 10, 18, 20 minutes, depending on what fruit it is. Everything has a different time frame that it digests in. But that's because the body knows exactly what to do with it. It doesn't get stuck along the way. We process it very easily. It helps for easy poops because it's our food of choice. All right. The body doesn't use protein for energy at all. It actually meat, dairy, eggs, cheese, cream, butter, you name it. It robs the body of energy and it gives you low endurance. All the energy goes to breaking down food, all of it. So protein is acidic. It is detrimental to our long-term health, and our bodies don't use it. So our bodies use amino acids and plant proteins, not animal proteins. Complete protein with all 9 amino acids, right? Proteins come from plants. Where do you think your animal gets it from? From grazing the grass or eating the plants or whatever they're grazing on. So you're really getting secondhand protein from them anyway. That's why your body can't recognize it to break it down. So I just wanted to make that clear. And then lastly, solutions. Some solutions that we can begin to implement into our regimen so that we see our body healed, whole, and complete, and in its optimal state, is detoxing with the season. So for every season, if you pick 1 month out of those 3 months and say, this is the 30 days that I'm going to 31 days that I'm going to really eat clean, pump up the fruit, pump up the raw, do all of the things. If you do that 4 times a year, that is ideal for maintaining optimal health and wellness in your body. in addition to your working out, right? That's just the cherry on top, the icing and cherry on top. So you have to increase your raw food intake. Begin eating lots of watery, juicy fruit for the H3O2. Please go look that up, because I know a lot of people are in fruit fear, and I know a lot of people think that all sugars are created equally, and they are not. Fructose fuels our human body. Glucose fuels our human body. It is not like refined sugar that is in candy. It is not like refined sugar that is in baked goods and all of those things. That is white sugar that have been stripped of its nutrients. You can't even compare the two. That's like comparing apples to oranges. They are not the same, okay? You also want to add Purium into your regimen. It was a game changer for me when I took the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. It's food grown in a good way, grown in good soil, when dehydrated, picked when it's vine ripened, all of the enzymes left intact, all of the vitamins, minerals, trace minerals present. We don't get that with what we shop at the perimeter of our grocery stores. We just don't. You can test it yourself, right? Very alkalizing to the body. And I want you to know our soil health matters. We have to be fed on a cellular level. These superfoods, I don't even like to call them superfoods because they're our foods. It's what we should have. It is a crime that we have to combat these chemicals and these pesticides and herbicides, and we don't have good food. That is criminal. It really is, right? So we have to cut back significantly. I say train yourself to have one cooked meal a day, and preferably for dinner, because you keep acid to a minimum when you do that. Every time you eat a cooked meal, it's going to leave behind acid ash, versus when you eat fruits, that leaves behind alkalinity, that gives you energy, that shifts your mood, you're upbeat, and you feel light, you feel free. When you go to put in the things that have 0 angstroms, no energy, they're dead, it does the opposite. You're tired, you want to go lay down.
Nicole, something happened with your microphone. I don't know if it's just me.
Okay, do I still sound the same?
It's a little low and it sounds mechanical almost. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, I was wrapping up. I'm gonna go out and come back in and just finish, and then if there's questions, we can do that. So let me leave and come back right back in.
So
Okay.
guys, as she's leaving, we're almost done. Just want to let you guys know our guests are here to share their information. The opinions they share are their own and not necessarily those of Elite Stars and CFIT Coaching. I know some of you on here are probably confused because we've had different types of guests talking about vegan, vegetarian, keto, all that stuff. You have to do what works for your body and what you enjoy. So don't, I know some of you are very freaking like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? So take what you like and leave the rest. She's back, yay!
Definitely do that. I'm not here to change anybody's lifestyle, anybody's mind. I'm just here to spread truth. And let's see. Hello.
We hear you, but we don't see you.
Okay, hold on.
Did she leave again? Yeah.
If you guys have questions, you can start writing them in the chat. This way Carmel can feed them to her. Do you have any questions or concerns?
Good point.
And as she's coming back, remember Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do this every week. Get water bottle challenge or liquids. Cheryl's leading the pack with that. That was her game changer with intermittent fasting. So we do it. She's back.
Yep, I was just wrapping up. Thank you guys so much. I was just saying, cut back significantly on your cooked food, because every time you bring in cooked food, you leave behind acid ash. And when we want to do as less of that as possible. 2 liters of water is all your body really needs a day when you're eating fruit for the rest of your water. A gallon is not necessary. Half of your water and weight is not necessary. When you're acidic, you just pee it out, right? And the easiest, because I heard you guys talking about weight loss earlier, the easiest way to lose weight is to eat plants and to cut back on high protein, high fat diets, which compromises the liver, makes things stagnant. And this is why it's harder for us to lose weight, because our kidneys are compromised by that kind of a diet, right? Carmel sells Super Amino 23. It's the easiest way to create lean muscle, burn fat, and it helps with mental acuity. Okay, can't beat this. Cocoa Hydrate, Biofruit, our juice bar in a bag is amazing for workout. Our Super Xanthan, great for recovery. So you don't have to worry about being sore. People are like, oh my gosh, my workouts are so much easier. I felt like I wasn't doing enough at the workout. And that's not what it was. It was that they were bringing in this nutrient, nutrition, excuse me, this alkalization, this electrifying chemistry into the body, and it helps the body to flow with ease. The other thing is fruit kills pain. They're natural painkillers. That's why we should eat from what comes from the earth. Okay. Lastly, lactic acid causes that burn because it has nowhere to go. So you always want to make sure that your kidneys are open. So I have a detox program coming up September 12th. If anybody wants to join, lots of education, lots of learning about the different organs and glands in your body, how they work, why we should detox, why our kidneys filter and what affects, or makes for poor filtration. We talk about the adrenals. We talk about the proper food combining, because we improperly pair a lot of things, and so much more. So you can read more information about that on my website, which is ilovebeingfresh.com, under the programs tab. Again, that's ilovebeingfresh.com under the programs tab. You can find lots of complimentary content on my Instagram. As Carmel stated earlier, I'm womb therapist there. So WOMB therapist, THERAPIST. So thank you guys so much for having me. I hope that you got something out of this, even if it was food for thought, like whoever that was speaking when I came back in, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. I don't really like to use that saying anymore, but, take what's for you is for you. This is advice, take it or leave it. It's not something that you have to do, but it should create you to be a free thinker. It should make you say, let me go out there and research this and see if I can find any matching evidence that lines up with this, right? We don't ever want to starve ourselves. There are other ways to put the body in ketosis without doing it with animal protein. There are other ways to lose weight in a healthy way without compromising your tissue. Your brain does absolutely needs fat. So I'm not saying that you can't have it. What I'm saying is there's a time to bring it in. Okay, so you can have avocado, you can have seeds and nuts, which are acidic, right? They leave behind acid ash, but there's a time for that. The morning time is not it. Okay, and you don't have to get fat from an animal, and you don't have to get fat from olive oil or those kind of oils which are congesting to the body. Grapeseed, all of those oils are congesting. You can steam your veggies in vegetable broth, right? And there's levels to this, and there's steps, and there's transition. I'm just sharing with you the importance of detoxification, and you cannot truly detoxify the body if you're bringing in fats, if you're bringing in oil, if you're eating eggs, if you're doing things of that nature. That you cannot detox the body like that. You have to literally feed it clean and give it things that it can properly digest or fast. Give it a rest. Bring in just grapes or grape juice, mono fruit eat. There are levels to it, right? But this is how you well oil the machine, right? Giving it what it needs. Not all of these things that we've been conditioned to think are food. A lot of it is processed. Even when you're transitioning to the impossible meat and the beyond meat, all of that is processed. All of it leaves behind inflammation, right? So that is it for me. Thank you guys so much.
Nicole, thank you. Thank you. Before you go, we had a question. Okay. I was like, oh, where'd she go? We had a question from in our chat. Cheryl, do you want me to ask the question or do you want to direct it? Oh, you want me to ask the question? Okay. So Cheryl was asking about ketones. Does this affect me taking ketones when? No, not that one. The other
Cheryl, you
one?
can unmic and talk, Cheryl.
All right, I'm sorry, I unmiked. No, I mean, because I'm supposed to, the detox part, is it gonna take an entire month? Does it take or can I do a good detox in 7 days?
It's ideal to detox for like 90 days, really. I mean, especially if you're overcoming something, but you can start off with a 3-day, you can start off with a 5-day, you can start off with a 7-day and work your way up to 14 or 30 days. It just requires discipline. You can do anything in 30 days, right? But you can do a 7-day fast. You're not going to get the same amount of results that you would should you have gone for 30 days, right? Like the average person loses 16 to 30 pounds. Weight loss might not be your goal, but it's usually the benefit of of detoxing. But You're
No,
going to get
I
results
want to
in
do
7
I want to do the detox because of everything you said. It's like not even about the weight loss now. I just like I heard what you were saying about the body and the diseases and stuff like that. Because I'm on high blood pressure medication right now, and I would like to get off of them. I do not want to be on them forever. One of
That's
the
one of the
reasons
quickest
I
things to heal.
started, yeah, so that's why I asked about the detox.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Cheryl-
7 days is going to give you some results, not the same amount of results that you would get if you took the 30-day plunge.
So is your detox totally no food or just fruits and vegetables and plants?
It's food and it's a kit. It's Purium products so that you're satiated. So people are not hungry on this detox. They're getting all of the nutrients, trace minerals, everything your body needs, you get. So you're not hungry, you're
Gotcha.
sleeping good, you're out of pain, like all of the things, right? Because a lot of us don't sleep good. We have insomnia. That's because our adrenals are ran in the ground. And so our apothecary helps you have deep REM sleep. When you have deep REM sleep, that's when your body can heal and repair. Other than that, it's not happening, right? So it helps you produce your melatonin naturally to get those things done. So you are eating fruits and vegetables and other approved foods, but you do take in these Purium products as well, which are very satiating and alkalizing to the body, which brings it back into balance.
Gotcha. Cheryl did, I think, 48 hours. I did 72. How many hours did you do, Cheryl, with the water fast?
I think it was like 38. Not on it, trust me, it wasn't on purpose. It was strictly by accident. It was not on
I did
purpose.
Yeah, that's an elevated fast. So there's levels to fasting. You know, you can do a fruit fast, you can do a juice fast, and then you can do a water fast, and then you elevate and do no food, right? So I know people who have done several days of eating nothing, not even drinking water. And that's the quickest way to heal the body. But I don't recommend that people do that without supervision from a professional because you can hurt yourself and you have to know how to refeed the body when you've come off of food for a significant amount of time. So there's levels and water fasting is a great way, but I always tell people work up to that, right? And for humans, like it's fine for us to have mono fruits and juice of that mono fruit several days in a row. And that's great healing for the body. You don't have to go water if you don't want to, because like I said, water doesn't rehydrate the human body and it doesn't have any nutritional value. You're just giving it something to kind of flush. And depending on the state of your body, if it's super acidic, you're just peeing out that water. So there's levels to detoxing and fasting. You just got to start. That's all.
I have
Any
a,
other questions?
yes, can you hear me? I have another question. Somebody in the chat asked, well, doesn't our brain need fat? Because you were saying something about fruit doesn't have fat, but I understand that fruits and vegetables, they do have some level of fat. Is
Well,
that
depending on, yeah, it depends on what fruit and vegetable it is. But yes, the brain does need fat to function, but not in the way that we were taught, right? And you can have avocado and you can have nuts and you can have seeds and you can have things that like coconut, coconut milk, those have good fats in it. You can have those things. You just have to be mindful of when you consume them. And the reason why I say that is we don't love on our liver enough. We bring in creamer into our coffee. We're putting nuts and seeds and all this stuff into our morning smoothie instead of coconut water or spring water at the base. And when you bring in something that has fat, you clock in your liver before it wants to be on the job. It's still detoxing. It's still purging. It's still doing its thing upon waking because it wakes up at about 4 a.m. and starts doing its thing. So if you bring in bacon, egg, and cheese, or you bring in things that are high in fat, it's like, dude, I wasn't ready until noon. You clocking me in at 7:30 or you clocking me in at 10 o'clock. So just being mindful of the time that you consume the fat is what I'm saying is what's important.
And one last question. Thank you for that, Nicole.
Mhm.
You mentioned eliminating organs. Are kidneys, bowels, lungs, skin, and lymphatic? I have an idea of what the lymphatic system is, but for some of us who is hearing that term maybe for the first time or not too sure, can you explain that, please?
Yes, it's a sewer system that takes out the trash. You have highways, lymphatic highways all throughout your body. Everywhere there's an organ and gland, there's a lymphatic highway near that. So, you know, breast cancer, if somebody has breast cancer, the lymphatic system in their armpits are usually congested, usually because of antiperspirant, right? So people who are on dialysis, they're told not to wear deodorant with aluminum. Why? Because their body cannot process it because their lymphatic highways are congested, or their kidneys are not moving things and filtering out the waste. So all you need to know about the lymphatic system is that when you eat a lot of acid, you lock it in place. Think of your lymph nodes, right? Your lymph nodes are your septic tanks. When they're swollen, the trash has backed up into the septic tanks and they're not being taken to the kidneys to be removed from the body or to the bowels to be removed as a poop. So your lymphatic highway is literally your sewer system in your body that takes out the trash. So think about the trash in your kitchen. If it's piling up and you put bag after bag after bag and now it's at the ceiling, that's what a lot of our bodies look like. We're congested lymphatically, which is a systemic issue. From head to toe, we have acidosis. And when we have acid in our head cavity, we have headaches, we have migraines, we have thinning, graying, balding, shedding. We have, people who their myelin sheaths are chewed up and they lose eyesight. That's cataracts, that's glaucoma. Even asthma and high blood pressure is a sign that there's high levels of acidosis in the body. If you have thyroid issues, that's because the head cavity is full of acid and it's not draining properly. We are like a tree trunk. Think about our center, our colon. If it's full of poop, right, your head cavity cannot drain because there's a blockage down below. So nothing can come down. It's like acid is all throughout. And so this is why the headaches, this is why the blurry vision, this is why people wear glasses. It's all connected and it all goes back to acid. So this is why it's so important to clean up our diets, because when we clean those things up, we clean all of those ailments up right along with it, right? Everything is cause and effect. Oop, you're still muted.
All right. I was going to say thank you, Nicole, so much for all of this amazing information. This is definitely food for thought. And it just opens up it just opens up our world a little bit just to understand other things. Nutrition is something that is all over the place, but nobody really knows about it. And I'm just doing my due diligence to learn about all these different kinds of lifestyles. And so I definitely appreciate your time, Nicole.
Yes,
for
you're
coming to my
welcome. It is a
group.
lot of information, guys. I don't expect you to process it all. You may have to watch this back a couple of times, but like Carmel just said, not enough of us understand the human body. And that's the difference, right? When we understand the chemistry of our body and how our organs and glands work and why we have cancer and why we have high blood pressure and diabetes. Let me speak to that really quickly. Diabetes is because you eat a diet too high in fat. So when you bring sugar in, sugar is knocking on all the doors and it's trying to get in, and fat is like, look, there's no room for you in here. And then it spikes because it's left out in the hallway, so to speak, if I had to give an analogy for it. So when you clean up your diet and you stop eating all the wings and the pizza and the fatty foods and the sandwiches and all of those things, and less fat is being brought into your fat stores, into your cells, when sugar needs to come in, it can actually process. It won't be left out in the hallway. So this is why we have type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is all diet. When you change the diet, the disease goes away. Type 1 involves the pancreas and some weaknesses that you may have come earthside with. But when we reverse the pancreas issues, you don't have to have type 1 diabetes, right? So anything created can be reversed, even cancer, even viruses. You name it, it's all cause and effect. Something created it in the first place, right? So thank you guys so much. It is food for thought. Take what resonates, leave the rest, or go look up the rest and try to figure out, why this should resonate or whatever, but just do your due diligence, right? Don't believe a word I told you. Go and research it and read for yourself, and you'll be surprised what you find when you begin to go down the